Hello, my fine feathered nerds. Gear up and get ready, because it's One Wellness Nerd Out time! Yeah! Let's go, baby! How you guys doing today? Happy Saturday, for real. We got the day right this time. What's going on, people? Happy One Wellness Nerd Out time. Dogs playing in the background. We can have them in the background now. We couldn't for the workouts because they would disrupt it. For this, it doesn't even matter. So it's great. So, this week, at least the next few days, we're going to be talking about fats. We went through carbs for a while there. Let's move to another form of macronutrient and talk about our fats. And the first thing we're going to kind of touch on is the chemistry. So let's get down, the different structures of the different types of fat, what makes them easier or tougher to break down. All right, so let's start off with our unsaturated fatty acids. So now we think of a hydrocarbon chain. So our carbons and our hydrogens, right, for both unsaturated, saturated fats and trans fats alike, right? Now the difference is if they have double bonds between the carbons or not. When we have those double bonds between the carbons, it means we have another bond taken up, right? So since there's two between the carbon, it means there are less hydrogen, because now that carbon is bonding one less other thing, right? Because another one of them was taken up on that carbon adjacent to it, and that would make it less hydrogenated as a necessary premise, right? So when we talk about an unsaturated fat, they have these double bonds between the carbons, at least one of them, and they could be mono or poly unsaturated fat, right? It depends on how many double bonds we have there, right? And our monounsaturated fats are the best ones for us generally in the diet, and we'll talk about that, food examples in the coming days. But in terms of structure, these double bonds now, they make for a kinky chain, right? And this kinky chain is easier to break down than the linear chain of a saturated fatty acid. More linear because we have single bonds between these carbons, and so there are more hydrogens, right? Because now we took away one of those double bonds, it's going to go somewhere, it's going to bind to a hydrogen, right? Is that carbon. Puccino, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for hopping on. If you want to play poker, we're going to be playing a little bit. Go on over, all right? For play money always, yeah. So, that would make them a little bit more difficult to break down, right? Now, when we talk about a trans fat, right? These are the real bad ones. Now, they're unnatural because let's take a cis form of something, and if we have this carbon chain, right, and we had a double bond, so we'll put this in the chain, a double bond between two carbons, right, and then we had one hydrogen here, the next carbon would have a hydrogen on the same side, right? So now a trans fat would have one here, and it would have one here. Now, this configuration, this opposing configuration of these hydrogen on opposite sides of that double bonded carbon will make it more difficult to break down. It will actually give the whole chain a more linear structure, okay? Analogous to a saturated fat. Whereas if those hydrogen were on the same side of the double bond, right, in a cis configuration, it would be more kinky and hence easier to break, right? So when we talk about something like a hydrogenated oil, right? Hydrogenated, and this is why we gave the premise before about how many hydrogen, a different type of fat would have. Well, if it's hydrogenated, they're aiding it with more hydrogens. All right, why are they doing that? Well, they're giving it more hydrogens because they're taking away these double bonds between the carbons, and they're just adding hydrogens to take up those bonds to make it more like a saturated fatty acid. And why? Well, because saturated fats are generally solid at room temperature, and it bodes well for preserving the shelf life, all right? So it's a pure business move, people, complete BS. And that's why when you're getting your peanut butter, you get the one with the oil on top that has the unsaturated fat in it. You look at the ingredients, and it shouldn't have any palm oil. It shouldn't have any sugar. It should have peanuts and sea salt, and that is it, my friends. So, maybe just peanuts if you like unsalted. But that's your little intro to Fat Week. I hope you guys got something out of it. Tomorrow we'll talk about some other types of fats, maybe some sources, and we'll go from there. What up, Erica? Hey, Erica Taylor Downs, how you doing? Thanks for hopping on. And Evo, my man. Thank you guys very much. Have a fantastic rest of your Saturday night, and we'll see you tomorrow, people. Happy Wellness.